So let me sort out my knitting and then we're gonna have a bit of a chat, because it was one of those weeks. I looked disheveled because that's what this week's been. Let this be the theme. Let this be the theme. And you know, let me continue. Let me see which row we're on. Yeah, we're just on a simple knit around. So this is a sock, yeah, that I'm knitting on, and I had all these plans, right, to do a video vlog thing, and I wanted to go places and all these kind of things, but then it was really rainy and stormy earlier in the week, and somehow, I'm not sure if it was the weather. I'm German, so I believe, you know, the weather causes these things. I had a really bizarre headache in a different spot than I normally get a headache. I don't know about you, but I usually get very specific headaches, like the sinusy headaches that you have at the front, or I get this kind of like proper here on top kind of headache. And so it's, you know, that's normally, you know, my headaches, but I had a headache just here, and it was so painful at times that, you know, nothing would touch it either. So apart from like trying to get through my work and just deal with the general life stuff, there was not really much more in me, to be fair. And yeah, so the vlog didn't happen. I wanted to go to Worcester Cathedral yesterday, which is about an hour's train ride away. And I thought, oh yeah, you know, it will be nice. I can go on the train, I can take my knitting with me, I can finish a sock, and I can go to Worcester Cathedral and have a bit of a mooch. There's a really nice wool shop in Worcester, which is coincidentally owned by the sister of one of Anthony's uni friends' girlfriend. Yeah. So his uni friend has a girlfriend, and that girlfriend's sister owns that shop. And I keep meaning to go. Not that I know her or even know the girlfriend. Not even seen that particular friend in years, but I feel like it's a connection. There's a link, you know, and I need to foster that link, you know. But yeah, anyway, it was the week of the constant headache. And then I was really quite down because I got my blood tests back, and they were once again really shit. And I should be used to it by now, but every time that happens and we're still no closer to knowing why that kind of is that bad in those areas, it just kind of gets me down a little, only for a little. As you can tell, I'm in fairly good spirits right now because I managed, after all, to go to my Pilates class this morning, and it was hard. Every time Becky, our instructor, now says, bring like some piece of equipment, you know, like, I'm not sure if you know Pilates, but with Pilates, you know, you obviously have the mat, and usually it's a thicker mat than yoga mats, because you do a lot of rolling around on your back. And so in order to not hurt yourself, it's a thicker mat. And then quite advisable is to have some sort of block for some of the exercises. So that's your standard. But then there's bands, you know, like the open-ended bands. I use my open-ended band for a lot of things that you would normally not use a band for, but I can't properly hold on with my hands, so I use a band. And then there's the looped elastic bands, the really thick ones. And then you have a Pilates ball, and then there's the ring. And today it was the ring session. And anyway, when she says, oh yeah, it's an equipment week, I'm always like, oh, you know, feeling a bit sorry for myself, because I can tell you now, I'm already hurting. It was this morning, it's like 2-ish in the afternoon, and I'm already hurting, right? And it's just so bizarre, you know, how much I hurt. And, you know, and she's really nice. She texted me after, it's like, you did really well today, which I love, because I need that kind of positive affirmation. You know, I need a lot of these kind of compliments and positivity, because well, you know, that's just, you know, who I am. Blame it on the neurodivergent thing. Yeah, blame it on that. But yeah, so it was, you know, a little bit like that. And then I had a really odd week. I wanted to do sewing and I wanted to do so much. You know, I had so many plans. And because some things didn't happen, somehow most of it didn't happen. Because, I don't know, I just couldn't do the other things either. So we're going to draw a big red line on the piece of paper and call this week just one of those weeks and move on, because I have already moved on. I'm feeling quite, you know, in quite a good mood. I mean, I'm very achy, but you know, it's just like I could dry laundry outside again today, which is always at this time of the year, it just makes me happy, you know. But if you live in England, you know what I mean. You know, when you can just leave it out and you don't have to worry that it might rain. And so you're not constantly hovering by the window thinking, oh, do I need to get it in? Do I need to get it in? No, I can just leave it out. It will be fine. And it will be dry by the time I get it in as well, which is lovely. Again, this is a thing. If you live in England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, Ireland, anywhere on these islands, you know, probably also if you live in Northern Europe. I mean, a lot of Northern Europe still has snow. I mean, I know it's just recently snowed in Sweden because I follow Jonna Jinton, and then you know these things. So yeah, anyway. But I also, you know, felt it was quite apt. It's Friday is the start of my new Artist Way week. If you don't know the Artist Way, I shall insert a book cover here. And yeah, and so she was talking a lot about perfectionism and how perfectionism, you know, kind of gets in the way of creating. And I certainly know that. And this is partially, you know, a bit what happened this week, because I wanted it to be a good week, which you can replace good with perfect. And so the good didn't happen and some things went wrong. And so somehow then nothing happened, right? And, you know, and so it was quite apt reading about it. And I have gotten so much better about a perfectionism though. I used to be such a terrible perfectionist that if I couldn't get something perfect first go, I would never try again. Never. And obviously that is quite a big task for anyone to achieve, right? And of course I didn't achieve it, and I got better, you know, but you know, because I was always academically really good and things were easy. So when certain things weren't easy, then I would be like, well, if it's not easy, then it's clearly not for me, you know, kind of thing. So I've gotten a lot better on that, you know, and I'm actually really, really proud of myself for that, because that took a lot of work. And now I can enjoy doing things just for the sake of doing them. And, you know, and even if I get frustrated, like with the sewing, you know, I'm not saying I never get frustrated. It's not causing me to give up, you know. I did finish those trousers last week and I have been wearing them. I shall insert a picture here, you know, and I'm hoping to cut out another one. So I don't let the failure, yeah, so to speak, or let's call it rather a misstep. I don't want to, you know, upset by the harsh language that I use. And I shouldn't call it failure. It's a misstep. It's a mishap. Stop me, you know, because I would just continue. And, you know, and I think a lot of it also had to do with the fact that when I was, you know, little and I learned a lot of things from my grandmother, she would do the thing that, you know, like, for example, you know, like, with embroidery, I got an embroidery kit, you know, like they were very popular in the late 70s, early 80s, cross-stitch kits, and they came with a little frame and they had like a pre-printed thing on, you know, like a mushroom or like a little house or a cat. And, you know, and then it had all the yarn in, you know, And then you could do it, and then you could frame it and hang it up. And I got one of those for one of my birthdays from someone, and I did it, and I really struggled getting my head around cross stitch, and it looked, quite frankly, a mess. And my grandmother just took the thing and put it in the fire. We had at that point still a hearth in the kitchen, you know, where, you know, like an aga, a coal and wood fired aga type thing. Obviously it was an aga because it was in Germany. But you know, she just threw it in because, you know, if I knitted something and there was a mistake in, she would unravel the whole lot. You know, and so it's just like, you know, I guess that's also partially where it came from. But as they say, I've done a lot of therapy about it. So I know where these things come from. But to break that is like breaking an addiction, right? And, you know, and so I did the hard work. You know, if there was a 12-step program for perfectionists, I think it would be very successful, because we are, you know, I'm not the only one, you know, we are everywhere, you know, and perfectionism gets in the way of so much joy, right? And I think to break that habit of perfectionism is probably one of my proudest older adult achievements, because, yeah, I don't let it stop me anymore. Hence, you see this kind of YouTube video with my hair in disarray and me knitting and waffling about a week, you know. But yeah, it's just like, in the Artist's Way today, she was also talking about taking risks, you know, and how it is sometimes just worth taking a risk just for the sake of taking a risk. I mean, obviously, we're not talking about just jumping off a cliff, you know, or anything like that. We're meaning, you know, we're meaning kind of the risks that won't cost you your life, you know, and won't endanger other people. I feel like she should have a bit of a caveat in there. So, and, you know, and I've been thinking about that because, you know, like the more risks I take, the more I'm willing to put myself out there, the more things just seem to happen. And, you know, you can say, oh yeah, it's manifesting and the universe delivers. Or is it just because, you know, like the more doors you open, the more things can come in, you know. It's hard to have a breeze in the house with only one door open, right? You usually need to have at least two sources to let air flow in for there to be a breeze. I think it's a little bit like that with risk as well. But then again, I sometimes, you know, like, you know, I do believe in the kind of manifesting thing, not the manifesting of like, oh, you write it down and you think really hard about it and then it happens, but the manifesting in the sense that you think about something and you really want it and then you just work towards it. And if you work towards it and it's meant for you, things will start happening for you. I've had that several times in my life. And it's hard because the initial thing is kind of interesting, isn't it? Because it means like, first of all, you have to know what you want. And that is really difficult. I often, you know, speak with the teenager about it. I mean, they're very certain what they want. They, you know, they want to study physics and, you know, and things like that. And because of it, because they're working towards it, things are happening for them that are sort of chiming in with that goal. And, you know, and they often say, oh, it's a bit like a miracle. And I said, no, it's kind of, maybe it is a miracle, but maybe it is also just because, you know, you open enough doors. Maybe that's just the same thing. Yeah. But yeah, so I found that really interesting. My husband and I, we just went to a neighboring high street to go to the local Waitrose to get some fancy chocolates for one of his work colleagues because he's going to a birthday party tonight. I'm not going because I'm tired, and also I don't think I'm invited, you know. So I think it's just literally for the work colleagues. So I'm not going, and instead I'm staying at home with the kid. We're gonna order Chinese in, which I'm looking forward to because our Chinese restaurant, which is actually run by a Vietnamese family, but it doesn't matter, you know, it's British Chinese food, you know, it's not Chinese food. There is something so, you know, fascinating about how different the Chinese takeaway is in the UK to what it was like in Germany, and you know, and what things work. I mean, like, you know, the chips from the Chinese, for example, because they do chips, it's Britain, you know, they're really good. I mean, we're not usually having them, but when we do have them, when we used to order with friends, we would sometimes have them. They're really good. And our Chinese takeaway does amazing salt and pepper tofu. It is so good that, I mean, you know, literally just give me a plate of that, you know. Tofu is also so filling, so you really only need that, so you don't need anything else. So yeah, oh, it's the bin man. They're a bit late today, it's the afternoon. Guys, what have you been up to? But yeah, so we're doing that, and they're probably gonna, like, you know, video chat with a friend later. It's like a bit of a thing they do. Sorry about the interruption. It was just so loud. I mean, it's still really loud, but they're not longer emptying the bins, at least, so it's a little bit quieter now. And yeah, so we're just gonna have a chill evening, and tomorrow Anthony and I are gonna go to an exhibition, and I might take some footage for the vlog if I remember it, and if it's not too busy. It's here in Birmingham at the Mac, and they have a really cool exhibition about photographic storytelling, I suppose, is probably the best way of describing it. Obviously, I love photography and I'm a photographer. And but they also have a quilt exhibition about storytelling quilts. And well, because I'm trying my hand a little bit on it, at it. English is not good today. You know, I shall insert a picture, and I just want to have a look at it. I mean, I've never done anything like that before, and I had so many scraps, and so I thought, well, I'm just gonna try something. So again, with the perfectionism, not getting too perfectionist, and just doing something. So yeah, I think that's all that I have to say for today. So I shall edit this video and upload it, and then I shall go and get the kit, because they would love it when I pick them up on a Friday, and I figure they're going to uni in a year and a bit, so I might as well continue doing that while I can. Anyway, nice to chat with you, and you know, if you like it, give me a thumbs up. You know, I really appreciate you watching it, and if you're new here, please subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.